want to inform the House and the members of that Contacts Committee that the powers of the House cannot be usurped by any particular member. Therefore, the work of the subcommittee should be done and concluded, and they should report to this House, because the power comes from this House. It should not necessarily disrupt the work of that subcommittee. Let it complete so that we can have an effective closure to that inquiry. So we ask the subcommittee to use the next 45 sitting days to complete work on the custodian board and report to this House. The final matter on the members, we have, this week is not very good because we have had a number of people who have died. I want to report the death of the Honorable Max Omeda. He was a former member of parliament here, a former minister, former member of the Constituent Assembly. I believe that colleagues in this House will give us the details about the burial arrangement. But let me invite you to stand up for 1 minute in silence in his honor.
May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Now, honourable members, on Tuesday I communicated that the matters of financial importance will all be handled tomorrow, Thursday, in the first 2 hours of the sitting. So all those of today and those which are outstanding will all be handled tomorrow. We shall take the first 2 hours to handle that business. So let's go to item 3.
Item 3, presentation of petitions. 3A, of the manufacturers and consumers of bottled beverages in Uganda.
Honorable Gideon Onyango.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. This motion is moved under Rule 30 of the Rules of Procedure of this House. Madam Speaker, I will go directly to the issues and then the prayers. The petitioners are consumers and manufacturers of beverages in Uganda. The petitioners aver that their members jointly appeal against the Uganda Revenue Authority implementation and installation of digital stamp systems at the factories of the petitioners. The petitioners are concerned that the service provider, CISPA South Africa, was selected to carry out the exercise without due process of procurement according to the procurement laws of Uganda. That in total disregard and abuse of existing procurement laws, Ugandans were locked out of the whole process that denied the country revenue and capital flight. These are the same machines owned by UPPC, Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation, and Uganda Security Printing Company Limited, and that they have local capacity to implement the digital tax system. The petitioners further aver that the issuance of digital tax stamps at varying costs, for example, shillings 15 for a bottle of water, shillings 20 for a bottle of soda, shillings 55 for a bottle of beer, shillings 80 for a packet of tobacco, and shillings 185 for a bottle of spirit and wines is discriminatory, and yet the digital tax stamp is the same, and its purpose is only to track and trace the product. The petitioners further contend that the digital tax stamps will increase cost of production and will put legitimate manufacturers out of business, and yet little has been done to bring the informal sector into the formal sector. This presents a further risk of ordinary Ugandans resorting to
Honorable
illegal...
Member, you're not supposed to be reading the body.
No, I'm not reading the body, Madam Speaker. I'm just picking the highlights. The petitioners argue that the entire process carried out...
Your prayers.
Prayers, Madam Speaker, that the Parliament to place a halt on the digital tax stamp until committee investigates the procurement procedures and all matters put in the petition as presented to this House. And lastly, that the committee investigates the cost of the stamps, selective method of implementation and mechanisms to bring the informal sector to taxable capacity prior to the implementation of the tax measures. I thank you.
Now, honourable members, I think during the budget process, this House rejected the request for funding for that project. It was rejected by this House. I don't know where Honourable Gorovi is, but this House had said no, please. So let's ask the Committee on Finance to examine that petition and come back to us with the report. Thank you. Next item.
Item 3B, petition of tea seedling suppliers and nursery operators in the Busheni district on non-payment by government for seedlings supplied and distributed to farmers under NADS program.
No, Majid.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I present this petition moved under Rule 30 of our Rules of Procedure. The petitioners are tea seedling suppliers, nursery operators, farmers, distributors of tea seedlings from Greater Busheni. They are frustrated, aggrieved that they were contracted by government to supply tea seedlings to farmers in 2017. They were supposed to be paid 3 months after supplying the seedlings. They did the job. We're talking of about 500 people. They supplied about 10 million seedlings worth 3.5 billion. 3 years down the road, the activity has been verified by the Chief Administrative Officer of Busheni. They have made the presentation to NADS. There is no response to the farmers. They are getting more and more disappointed and frustrated, and they are facing a lot of difficulties in their operations. Some of them picked bank loans to do this, and the inputs like fertilizers were quite high. Their prayers are as follows, Madam Speaker. Number one, the humble petitioners pray that Parliament urges government to expedite the payment due to the tea seedling suppliers and nursery operators in the Busheni district. Number two, that Parliament urges government to treat tea seedling suppliers fairly and with empathy in all future transactions by paying all suppliers quickly and always on time. And third and final, that Parliament urges government to pay close attention to issues of tea farmers, especially the tea inputs and supplies, tea policy, tea pricing, extension service, improved tea clones, and other activities of the tea value chain. And your humble petitioners, as in duty bound, will ever pray, and here too appended your humble petitioner's signatures as attached. Madam Speaker, I beg to leave.
Thank you very much, Honourable Majesi. The petition is sent to the Committee on Finance to handle expeditiously and report back to this House. Next item.
Item 4, response by Minister to an urgent question on the rampant power outages in the northern Uganda.
Mr. Ofenaji.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. In a letter dated 4th November 2019 by Hon. Okumu Ronald Reagan, member of National Resources Committee, my ministry was required to respond to extreme power fluctuation in Gulu and Kitgum areas. Specifically, Hon. Okumu Reagan was asking for restoration of power supply in the sub-region for domestic and industrial needs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, yesterday there was a debate here and you guided and requested the minister to come and provide a statement regarding the entire northern Uganda. The minister is here responding to a letter by Honorable Reagan Okumu, and I wanted to beg your guidance, Madam Speaker, whether we should proceed with this statement, which is far-fetched and seemingly not grounded on the rules of procedure of this House. Honourable Minister, first of all, it was not Honourable Okumu, it was Honourable Lyanda Komakech who raised the issue about power outage in Gulu. Then Honourable Akena complained about the power outage in Lira, and then Honourable Atiku reminded us about the issue of West Nile, which has been on the floor of this House. That's the genesis.
Right Honorable Speaker, I note the request by Honorable Komakech. It is also in line with this one, and this statement answers all requests about the northern Uganda, especially the Acholo region. So it is in that respect that I am responding to this, to tell the people of that region what is happening, what's the plan, all of it in the north.
No, let him answer, then we shall find out whether he has said enough or not said enough. Let him proceed.
Thank you for your wise ruling, Right Honorable. I am saying this letter was asking the restoration of power supply in the sub-region for domestic and industrial areas, in explanation of how government will ensure power supply reliability in the region, all the region there, and provide the power is here. That's why I speak less, because I will sound too much. Provide different rural electrification schemes in the sub-region. Government recognizes power demand growth in Acholo region due to various economic activities taking place in this sub-region. The issue of power cuts has been raised before by Parliament, to which explanation was given on how government is addressing the issue. The first intervention has been implemented is to install a second transformer at Lira substation to double the capacity of the substation from 20 megas to 40. These interventions has increased power reliability in the region, as in implementation of the short-term and medium-term interventions are at different levels. I will elaborate on short-term and medium-term interventions later. Therefore, the prolonged power outage that was witnessed on Friday, 1st November 2019, up to Sunday, 4th November 2019, was not a matter of sabotage, but rather due to an unplanned technical fault on the transmission network. My ministry therefore responds to the specific issues raised. 1. Restoration of power supply in the sub-region for domestic and industrial needs. First, Gulu and Kitgum are connected on the national grid through the 132 kV Tororo Opuyo Lira transmission line on wooden poles, which experience breakdown, especially in swampy areas. There was a technical fault on the 132 kV transmission line between Roti and Lira substations at the Kitty swamp, whereby a wooden pole in this swamp collapsed on Friday, 1st November 2019, leaving all areas unserved by Lira substation out of supply for about 2 days. Gulu and Kitgum are some of the areas that did not have power for about 2 days because of this technical fault. The power supply has since been restored, bringing Gulu, Kitgum, and environs back on power. It took long to restore power supply as the swamp was waterlogged due to heavy rains, hindering quick erection of a new pole. Second, explaining on how government will ensure reliability of power in the sub-region. Short-term plans. Connection of Aswa hydropower dam is complete, and the line evacuating power from Aswa dam will be ready by the end of November 2019. Gulu, Kitgum, and environs will therefore be getting locally generated power from Aswa dam, which will be effective from December 2019. Aswa dam will provide alternative power supply and therefore enhance power supply reliability in the sub-region. Government is constructing Tororo Opuyo Lira transmission line on a metallic structure to replace the old wooden line. Once complete, the new line will provide stable power to the Acholo region. This project is expected to be completed during the financial year 2019-2020. The line will have been completed but is hampered by court injunctions, mainly in Tororo and Lira districts. Compensation. Uganda Distribution Company Limited has commenced rehabilitation of a 33 kV Lira Gulu and Lira Kitgum lines in order to enhance their reliability. In the medium term, the 132 kV transmission line connecting Karuma Hydropower Dam to Lira substation is under construction and is about 85% complete. This power line, once complete, provides an opportunity for the sub-region to directly get power supply from Karuma Hydro Power Plant. Procurement is ongoing for the contractor to undertake construction works for a 132 kV Lira, Gulu, Nebi, and Arua transmission line. Procurement of the contractor is expected to be completed by the end of this calendar year. This provides an opportunity for the region to get power supply through Olio, Kole, and Lira substations, hence significantly boosting power supply reliability in the region. The areas to be connected, all of them are in appendices. This big area is showing which areas are to be connected. Every district in that region is included here. I would like to request to ask you, Right Honorable, whether I will read all these appendices, there are very many, or since they are already in the iPads, all of them will be. I am asking. Okay.
The issue of power in this house is very, very critical key, but there are many. Are they on your iPad?
They are here.
Okay, just read the districts. Read the schemes and the districts.
I read the list.
Scheme and the district.
Okay, the list is here. Amuru district. Now, these names also to the Kakuba Trading Center in Amuru sub-county. Areas in Guruguru sub-county include Adie, Kok, Choke, Guruguru, and Parilech. Cal Trading Center in Pabo sub-county, that will be connected in Elegu Town Council, Vasho East in Atiak sub-county, Powell, Hukumu in Opara sub-county. These are under implementation. Planned activities. Transformer 4 to restore Leadership Academy, Kiriduma Health Center, the areas to be served. Health Center 3, Olacharo Primary School, and Labongoli School. Amuru Hot Spring, Atiak and Luani Technical College, Lochem Primary School, and environs. Amuru District. Completed schemes. Gula Jumani, Moyo Line T-off to Amuru project supply the following areas in Amuru District. Keyo, Awer, Parabongo, Pabo, Pawel, Atiak, Libya, Pagak, Olwal, Labong, Ngo Gali, Amuru Town, Amuru County Headquarters, and Amuru District Headquarters. Bibia, Elegu TC, Oyam, Sugar Factory in Atiak, Pade District. Call it Pade. You know, it was done for Pade, water pump, CCF Pade Girls, SS, and Pade Central High School. Areas packaged under the sub-county electrician program under China Exim Bank. Lawodo Ponyo in Acholiburg sub-county, Angagura sub-county headquarters, Laguti county headquarters, Latany sub-county, Lopur, Ongon, Pranga, Pajule. If I'm not pronouncing very well, don't worry. As long as you hear something similar. Plan schemes. These are under KFW. We have false extension for Gili Gili and Pade trading centers. Completed this schemes in Pade. Works implemented using government of Uganda funds. Bishop Film Secondary School. Works implemented using World Bank. Gulu Acholi Buru and Paisho Patiko. Palaro project serving the following areas: Acholi Buru, Laguti, Aswa Ranch, Atanga, Lacha Kochot, Angaura, and Akuyam. Very difficult name is also. Okay, works implemented under using Norway funding. Rachikoko Awere. Lalogi project serving the following areas: Lagile Trading Center and Health Center. Awere Trading Center, Secondary School and Health Centers. Works implemented under the SHUDIS funding. Konaklak, Patongo, Adelang, Abim will queue up to supply Pade Township and Acholi P areas. Kitgum District. Other implementation. Kona Alango, Futuke project serving developed areas. Labango, Amida, Opete, Opira, Angomo, Urianga Primary School and Futuke Primary School. Plan Tamagu, PC and Early Centers. Areas packaged under the sub-county electrification program under Exim Bank. Labongo, Akwang sub-county headquarters in Ateng. Kitgum, Matidi sub-county headquarters in Lanyam. Kitgum, Matidi town council headquarters in Ipagwa, La Hiomo. Labongo, Amida West sub-county headquarters in Ominibul plus other areas to benefit Shalinkulot, First, Jeng,
Now, Order Minister.
Okidi Central.
Order Minister.
Yes.
You know, if you look at the order paper,
Yes.
we wanted you to explain the power outages in Gulu, in Lira, and West Nile.
Yes.
What you're answering is a different matter. I know it's important, but it's not what... it's important.
The line going to Arua is on, and the areas have all been, we are still planning, getting the areas where they are passing, the lines are passing. The extension is going from the dam.
No, Minister,
Yes,
you are answering a different question. This information is important,
yes,
but it's not what is on the order paper. The order paper is asking you to explain why Gulu municipality is continuously having no power, while Lira municipality also has no power, while West Nile for many years has not received power.
Madam Speaker, as I read the sentence, I said there had been breakdowns, technical breakdowns because of heavy rains, which at times break the poles in the where we used to, and then we take time because of the swamps which are waterlogged to replace the poles. But for Arua, the new plan is to take power from the dams to Arua. Otherwise, it used to be served by a generator. So plans are there for Arua as well.
Honorable Komakech and then Atiku.
Madam Speaker, yesterday the issues we raised were very clear, that while government continues to put in place all what he has read, we are saying in the meantime, the traditional lines, the transmission lines that have been put in the 60s are not operational. We needed to say, while we wait for what we are supposed to complete, can we have a sustainability for the current lines to be operational? Because we receive power 24 hours in a week only. So how do we get power for the whole week as we wait for the whole of those megawatts that are going to come in the long run? So these are the issues we're raising. Can you assure us that these can be sorted out? During dry season, the poles have been burnt. During wet season, the rains have dropped the poles. So what is the logic of all these explanations? Yeah.
Honorable Atiku.
Accepted.
Let's say Honorable Atiku first.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Atiku.
First of all, we have the wrong minister presenting, because I know Honourable Ekuris is in charge of minerals. And it should be Honourable Dujanga who should be here. I don't know whether it's a tactical move that Honourable Dujanga has taken leave and sent the Honourable Ekuris who is in charge of minerals. But nonetheless, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, honourable members, we must speak interest. Even this report that has been presented here is very important. I sit on the Committee of National Economy, and we approved several loans that have come here, and also the Parliament has approved those loans. But we are hearing rumors, and many times, Madam Speaker, those rumors which move around in the corridors of Parliament are factual or facts. The money we approved here for taking power to sub-counties, I'm told contracts are being, the contract was awarded to a Chinese company. The Chinese company has shared the money with some subcontractors, and money is changing hands left, right, and center, and we may not see power going to sub-counties.
No.
Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, let's be focused. You asked questions yesterday, which weren't answered. That matter of the sub-counties is also coming separately.
Madam Speaker, I was just trying to keep the House alert, because they bring this information here to cover us up,
No, we shall
or to
not.
confuse us.
We shall not allow them.
But that aside, Madam Speaker, the issue of West Nile, I mentioned here yesterday very clearly that we passed a loan and we engaged with the Minister of Energy here in the South Committee room, and they gave us assurance and the roadmap on the progress that made. According to the roadmap they gave us, by May this year, the contractor should have been on site. We even had a stakeholders meeting in Inebi, organized by the Honorable Dujanga, who is not here. I don't know why he's not here. He should be the one to give us updates. So, Madam Speaker, there's something that is NISTA, which we must be interested in, because for West Nile, we are not going to lie down if the issue of connecting the region to the national grid is not addressed, and yet we provided money as a Parliament.
Honourable members, I'm coming. Just give me a minute. Honourable members, in the public gallery, we have got students and teachers of Factory Primary School. Are you the ones? Please stand up. There they are, from Jinja District, represented by Honourable Lufafa and Honourable Katali. You're welcome. Now, honourable members, do you want him to answer the question number 4, or you want to wait for the issue of the sub-counties? Okay, Lily. Honourable Adong, and then
Thank
Honourable
you.
Alum.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Adong and Alum first. Okay.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the power outage in northern Uganda, we have to interpret it differently. It is no longer inefficiency of government. Madam Speaker, you cannot operate a milling machine, a mill. Just milling maize, you cannot operate it. Not even a saloon. One time I took my time and I went to the Umeme manager of Gulu. We all have homes in Gulu. He told me the transformer they have, I don't know whether transformer what, these people know the language well. The capacity is low. But leave alone that. I want to tell the minister it is not rain or even fire burning the poles. It is something else. It is economic sabotage. Madam Speaker, during dry season, 3 times a week, Omeme is doing management. They send us, actually they stopped now sending us messages. They used to send us messages, and I kept marking my calendar because I took particular interest. Each month we receive power less than 15 days, which means in a year, Gulu district or northern Uganda, whatever, we receive power less than half a year. Less than a half a year. We can't manufacture. We can't. All the investors who had their factories in Gulu have all moved to Lira. They've all moved. We can't process products. And this one brings me to a point where, you see, in this country, you start hearing things in the corridor and it materializes. They are saying in the corridor, we have failed to manage our land, we have failed to develop. How can we develop when we can't process agricultural produce? We cannot process, we cannot operate saloons, you cannot invest in our area. I check information from...
Honourable members, do you want the minister to answer? Because we are Minister, do you have this answer on item 4?
Madam Speaker, this is very serious.
Madam Speaker, you are...
Madam Speaker,
Does the minister have the answer to question 4?
procedure.
Honorable Speaker,
Procedure.
due to what I'm seeing on the floor, everybody wants to raise a question, and I'm seeing, I think what I have here could be inadequate. Let me go back and bring another paper.
Okay.
I request that all the questions should be raised so that I am able to see them, answer them wholly for Arua, for Gulu area and others, the northern part of Uganda, so that I bring a comprehensive report, Madam Speaker.
Can you bring it next week?
Madam Speaker.
Yes, it can be brought next week, maybe Thursday, because it's big document.
Okay. I would instruct the clerk to pick up all the questions which have been raised relating to the sub-counties and relating to all these areas in the north and send them to the minister. So
Thank
that
you very much.
Makes a
Right
proper answer.
Honorable.
Okay. We're on item 5.
Item 5, Bills, second reading.
We have not that issue.
The Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill
Honorable
2019.
What's the problem? Yes, Honorable Zogu. And stand up when you're talking.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I read through the statement which the Honorable Minister actually presented. And you recall, Right Honorable Speaker, when you were asking him to read the list of the districts, he was kind of trying to avoid even reading them because he only had Noya, Chitugum, Amuru, Pade, and stopped there. And yet had masqueraded that actually has a list of all the districts in northern Uganda. So, Right Honorable Speaker, even the way that the statement was actually addressing the questions was not in the context. What I would like to say to your mandate, Right Honorable Speaker, is that actually he makes sure that he puts the responses in the context of the questions. And two, it should be comprehensive, Right Honorable Speaker, to the extent that he should listen to the views which the members have already pointed out. And there are many views, Right Honorable Speaker, because it's not only northern Uganda, but also other parts of the world, other parts of the country. So, wouldn't it be procedure, Right Honorable Speaker, for the Honorable Minister to take questions and also address the entire sector within the entire country? That's what I would think, Right Honorable Speaker, than handling it in piecemeal.
Honourable members, there is a question by Honourable Guma on the whole country, which we expect an answer. It's already there from Honourable Guma Gumi cities. So expect an answer on that one, on all the sub-counties of the country. And then you can pick up the other questions from what the members have been saying and prepare answers to all of them. Let's go next item, 5.
Item
Much
5.
obliged.
Item 5, Bills, second reading. The Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill 2019.
Honourable Yayanga.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill 2019 be read for the second time. I beg to move.
Seconded? Is it seconded? It's not seconded? Okay. Seconded. It has been seconded. You can move.
No, the chairman now.
Ati? Yes, now you are the mover. The chair will come.
The chair is there.
You move for the second reading and then the chair will come. Didn't he justify the second reading before the common court? Yes. Honorable Chair, so you are no justification?
Madam Speaker, I now invite the chair to come and do the needful. I think it is better that way.
Ideally, you should have given your objectives, but if you have handed over work to the chair, okay. Yes. The justification for the second reading, why do you want the law? And then the chairman will answer with the report.
Madam Speaker, the object of the bill is to amend the Administration of Parliament Act, provide for a manner of choosing the backbench members of the Commission, the leader of opposition, the chief opposition whip, and party whips, and to establish the office of the deputy leader of opposition and chief opposition whip. To also provide the tenure of whips and to establish the office of the Dean of Independence in Parliament. May I go to the defects? That's all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Madam Speaker, the committee considered this bill. Right Honorable Speaker, as in our record on 29th of January 2019, Honorable Barrier Andrew Aja, the MP Kabale municipality. Barrier I am from Toro if I don't pronounce it well, moved under Rule 120 of the Rules of Procedure to introduce the Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill 2019 to Parliament. The bill was accordingly referred to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, pursuant to Rule 128 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. This bill seeks to amend the Administration of Parliament Act to provide for the manner of choosing the backbench members of Commission, the leader of opposition, the chief opposition whip, and party whips, among others, to establish the office of deputy leader of opposition and the deputy chief opposition whip, to provide for the tenure of party whips, and to establish the office of the Dean of Independent Members of Parliament and related matters. Madam Speaker, the bill also identifies one of the defects in the current legislation, as in designing the backbench members of the Commission, the Administration of Parliament Act allocated only one person, one position to be filled by the opposition, yet the party in government was allocated the 3 positions. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, in considering the bill, the committee was guided by Rule 128.2 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, and we met and received memoranda from notable stakeholders such as the leader of opposition, the chief opposition whip, the government chief whip, and other members of Parliament. Madam Speaker, the copy I'm referring to here is an abridged version for purposes of presentation. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me point to the views of 2 notable stakeholders the committee met. One, the chief opposition whip, pointed out that the argument that all shades of opinion represented in Parliament are not represented on the Commission is untrue and baseless in light of the functions of the Commission. He also alluded that the mover of the bill seems to look at the Commission as a body that is supposed to be representative of every opinion in Parliament, which is untrue. The Commission, this is the opinion of one of the stakeholders, and we're highlighting that one from the Chief Opposition Whip. So whatever I will be saying here is that until I say otherwise. The Commission makes decisions that benefit all members of Parliament, irrespective of their political affiliation, and that the mover cannot point at any one decision that has been taken by the Commission that has been unfair to any of other shades of opinion not represented on the Commission. The role of Parliamentary Commission, mainly being the provision of members' welfare, should not be looked at from political party lenses, because members of Parliament, whether opposition or ruling party, are all equally entitled to be provided for by the Commission. Another person, another stakeholder, is the leader of opposition. On the other hand, argued that this bill would be a thorn to multi-party dispensation, which the opposition has been advocating for more than 2 decades, and that since 2004, parties have been struggling to overcome the 18 years suffered in abeyance, being discriminated against, operating from limited space, and a curtailed freedom of association. The leader of opposition added that, to date, parties are still struggling to harmonize loyalty and keep disciplined membership with the common interests. Thus, parties in the opposition are so skeptical and reluctant to this bill. Madam Speaker and members, it is worth noting that during the interaction with the other stakeholders, concerns were raised against the movers of the bill for having not consulted the major stakeholders on the matter they raised. For instance, the opposition and the party in government. Secondly, the committee notes that whereas the rules of procedure do not provide whether a private member of Parliament intending to bring a bill before Parliament must consult, it is a democratic principle that views of the people, especially those who are to be affected by the proposed amendment, be sought. In addition, the committee therefore proposes that guidance should be issued by you, the Right Honourable Speaker, in exercise of the powers granted to you under Rules 7 and 8 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament on the manner and mechanism for consultations that must precede the introduction of private members' bill. In conclusion, the committee scrutinized the bill and made recommendation. It is therefore the prayers of this committee, that this House allows the bill to be read the second time based on its recommendation on page 10 and 14 of the report shared with the members on their iPads. I beg to report.
Thank you. Okay, honourable members, you have heard the mover. He gave his objectives. You have also heard from the chair of the committee. The report has been signed by the necessary minimum of 1/3 members, so you are free to express your views. Honourable Nandara, 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to also thank the chairman, and I want to thank the mover of the bill, who had, I think, other interests than the interest for having multi-party in this country. Madam Speaker, if you look at the object of the bill, it is talking about only the opposition. Yet in this House, we have both opposition and the ruling party. And if you are talking about the methods of choosing a leader of opposition, opposition chief whip, then you should also mention how they should choose the lead of government business and the government chief whip. If you're not doing that, then it will be wrong for you to come and prescribe a method which is aiming to curtail the operation of my party and oppressing one side. Madam Speaker, if you look at this bill, I think we don't need to go even at committee stage. This bill should be withdrawn by the mover of the bill.
On a point of procedure, Honorable Chair.
Madam Speaker, I was excited about this bill, and I forgot to submit the copy of the report for today, and also the minutes of proceedings of the meetings we held on this bill. So I beg that I seek your indulgence. Allow me to lay them.
Okay. So the report and the minutes of the committee are hereby laid. Yes, Honorable Nandale.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I would request again the move of this bill that it is high time you withdraw it. For example, a dean of independence. If you come in parliament as independent, you are independent of each other. The only thing we know about deans are deans of students. Those are in the universities. But not deans of independence in the parliament. Madam Speaker, even if you say that you should consult, it is a must that you see, I'm making it because the law when you're making it, it must be blind. For example, if you say that you should consult the parties in opposition, all, I want to give an example in this house. Bet among is a UPC. She sits on the other side. The president of UPC, the husband sits this side. Now, whom would you consult? There are two UPCs, one this side and another on this side. Then the DP also, you know, there's the one over the youth. So, Madam Speaker, not necessarily that when you sit this side, you're opposition. No. There are many. So, if a party which is leading in opposition, it may consult. Even it can consult the other side of the ruling party because it says, we want to do X, Y. It could do it as inform. But if you say it must, as I've seen what the committee is saying, then you consult the UPC the other side and the UPC this side. Then what consultancy is that? So, Madam Speaker, for us to allow multi-party to grow, we should allow parties to do what they should do well. The only thing they should apply democracy in their parties. I want to ask the chair of the committee, in this report on peg 4.2, I saw you saying the leader of the opposition, but have you changed this statement? It says, paragraph 2, the government chief whip objected to the bill, and the government chief whip presented the following arguments. While you are reading the opposition chief whip. Is there a difference or you are meaning this one? Because I need to understand so that I can make my second comment.
Madam Speaker, as I was reading the abridged version, which means a summarized version, and I said of all the stakeholders, I picked out 2. Then I should have picked 3, including the government chief whip, was also not in support of this bill.
The reason why I raised that, because when you picked 2, you picked the sample space when you are doing a sample. You try to do, if it is people, you choose men and women. But you don't only choose men and forget what? Women. So the sample space you chose and said the leader of opposition, the opposition chief whip, you made a mistake, you should have also chosen the other side. So, Madam Speaker, from what I can see, Both sides are saying this bill is in with a bad motive. And me, in my belief, is that the move of the bill is an independent member of what? Parliament, who had wanted his interest to be taken care of, to also be on, I think, to create a dean of students, a dean of independence, so that maybe he would use it as a vehicle to go to the commission. But I can tell you, any party can decide to make any of the independents to be a member of what? Of a commission. It is up to them to make a decision. Say, this is independent but opposition, or this is independent but movement. So this one of saying, I would advise my brother, either you become independent movement or independent opposition, and you'll have an easy way to reach the board if you are very interested in the parliamentary commission. But using this method, I don't think is the right way, and I would plead with my colleagues who are independent that it's high time. In January, it's the time to make a choice which side of the coin you want to go, and either UPC or DP, and we move. I thank you.
Honorable Waira, then Honorable Gideon Alum, then I'll get it to here.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I would request you give me more
3 minutes,
time,
please,
so that I can realign this debate. Madam Speaker, when you look at the report, the way it was prepared, they prepared it with a selfish motive. Madam Speaker, much as the mover didn't consult even us, the independents. But, yes, but he doesn't wash away the fact that independents are recognized in the Constitution. Madam Speaker, the Constitution here, if you look at clause 2, it says that the Constitution will be the supreme law. And once it is the supreme law, it has to prevail on whoever has anything contrary to that. Madam Speaker, if Honorable Nadala Mafali can check the Constitution still, 72:4, it is very clear. Any person is free to stand for an election as a candidate independent of a political organization. Don't worry.
Don't heckle, member.
Madam Speaker, we begin from here. The Constitution is well aware that in Parliament they are independent members. And the Commission caters for the welfare of members of Parliament. Why is it that the NRM is ring-fencing the three? And why is it that the opposition is ring-fencing the one? It means that they want their interests to be covered. So why don't we have somebody on the Commission? Don't you think the independents also have interests? Whether 1 or 60. The framers of this Constitution, you bring the Constitution and Ramaphosa. Is it friendly? Madam Speaker, when you look at 21, Madam Speaker, clause 21, sue the Constitution. Article 21.
Yes.
Equality and freedom from discrimination. 21:1, it reads, all persons are equal before and under the law in all the spheres of political, even if I end there, but I can continue. But what is important here to note is political, because for us we are politicians. Now, economic, social, cultural life, and in every other respect, and shall enjoy equal protection of the law. Madam Speaker, an independent member, whether 1 or 60, their interests must be catered for by the Commission. 21:2, without prejudice, clause 1 of this article, a person shall not be discriminated against on the ground of sex, race, color, ethnic origin, tribe, creed, or region, social or economic standing, political opinion. It is very clear. Madam Speaker, why would this parliament go against the constitution which was framed by this very house? If it is friendly.
No, so
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, we have 2 or 3 categories of independents. One, there are those ones who participate in their primaries of their political parties, and when they lose, then they run as independents. The second one is where someone who is not even affiliated to any political party decides to go in an election and contest as an independent. Then the third one is there are those ones who have membership of their political parties and they don't participate in primaries, but they decide to run as independents. So the point of clarification I would like to get from the honorable colleague is, what is it that is independent, that an independent member becomes independent in this House? Particularly in a situation where a member who has participated in the primaries of his or her political party, after maybe being rigged out, he or she runs as an independent, but has not handed over the membership card of his or her political party. What does that imply, Right Honourable Speaker?
Honour members, Honour members, the Constitution did not say that you lift the veil and find out whether this person is well dressed or not well dressed. Don't import new conditions. Honour Waira.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for that very wise ruling. Madam Speaker, when we say that the ruling party should have the majority and the opposition have the minority, even when you spread those number of commissioners and the interests of independent is catered for, still the ruling party will remain with the majority, the opposition will remain with a representative, and even this shade of opinion, which is clearly recognized by the Constitution, also has its interests catered for. So, Madam Speaker, we may delete all the others to do with the political parties. Is it the chief whip? Is it the opposition whip? But the issue of independent, let us not withdraw this bill, Madam Speaker. Let us cater for that shade which is clearly recognized by the Constitution. I beg to move, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Honourable Nyango, 3 minutes, then Alum, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to start with the report of the committee. We want to thank the committee for the great work. Madam Speaker, the chair of that committee, who also read the report of the committee, is an independent. Actually, in literal terms, I would call him a serial independent, because he has always been an independent ever since he came to this House. Madam Speaker, by the time someone contests for the NRM primaries and loses, or decides to come as an independent, it means he is dissatisfied with the proceedings of the party primaries. That is the primary reason. And such a person, in normal terms, you may not even have a right to associate him or her with such a party that is full of irregularities. This is very serious, Madam Speaker. When you are cheated by the party that they are calling your leaning party, I think that is a misplacement of English words. Because the party that they are associating you with has actually
helped to make you come to Parliament as an independent? Because the fact that you are able to contest as an independent and win the elections without the support or help of a party, it means you have the mandate, and enough mandate of the people. Madam Speaker, therefore, I don't think this bill should be withdrawn as one of our colleagues proposed. This bill should stand, Madam Speaker. This bill has, Honorable, I will give you will give me the information, just a minute. When you look at the summary of the report that the chairperson presented, it is very quiet on the issue of representation of independents in the commission. And this gives us a leeway to support our position
Half a minute to wind up.
So, Madam Speaker, what I was trying to put across is that this bill should not be withdrawn. But let us delete all the other issues that are causing chaos in the opposition and government. Of course, I know even the government chief whip didn't support it because she knows it will cause her more problems. Let's delete all this, and we only handle the issue of representation of independence in the commission. Madam Speaker, when a commissioner from NRM or opposition makes a decision, they will never make a decision that favors an independent that they rigged in the NRM primaries or opposition.
Honorable, a member of that commission, when we decide issues of welfare, it's for all members. We don't say this is an opposition member. No, whatever we do is for all members. Please.
But, Madam Speaker, as I conclude, let me be quiet on that. But, Madam Speaker, what I want to say is that independents need a focal person that can communicate what transpires in the commission. Decisions are made, but we don't have a link. We need this link. This is what we want the law to take care of. I thank you very much.
When we improve on the rain, I tell everybody here that the rain is falling.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand here to state categorically clear that there is a very big problem as far as the minority parties in this parliament and the independence is concerned. That's why you hear some of these voices coming up, Madam Speaker. I want to start by giving the example of members who serve on the commission. Right Honorable Speaker, me as a member of a minority party, I have no opportunity and no chance to serve as a member of a commission or even the independents. And Madam Speaker, this is ring-fenced to the members who are on the government side or the ruling side and the members who are the majority on the opposition side, Madam Speaker. It does not only stop there, Madam Speaker. There is a lot of discrimination, Madam Speaker, when it comes to our side. No equal chance, no opportunities. For example, Madam Speaker, here in the report of the committee, the issue of appointing the leader of opposition is a reserve for the opposition with the greatest number. The issue of commission, the issue of aiding parliamentary committees, the issue of nominating representatives in international fora, assemblies and parliament. Madam Speaker, as a member of a minority party, I don't think and I don't see myself to be a member in any of the international forums and assemblies, Madam Speaker.
Information. Madam Speaker, I want to agree with my sister Lom. We should avoid creating a second-class members of parliament where the ruling government is recognized and then the opposition is recognized. The constitution is very clear that independents are part of this. We have our own rights, and those rights must be exercised.
Thank you so much, my sister Honorable Among, for that. Madam Speaker, I also want to mention something about how the leader of opposition is chosen. Madam Speaker, the leader of opposition is a leader for all of us seated on this side. But we don't have a say how that leader is chosen. Yes. And Madam Speaker, we are supposed to listen and respect that leader of opposition. And if my party and myself as a member of parliament does not have a single voice on how that member is chosen, no wonder that's why we are suffering here. You wait for the leftovers. That's what you are given, Madam Speaker. To Madam Speaker, we have officers as minority party whips, but we always have to wait. If you are given even water, that is it. If you are not given, that is it. Yes. Madam Speaker, I feel this is the highest level of discrimination coming from a national parliament called Parliament of Uganda. We have been mentioned as the party whips, Madam Speaker. Our names are being mentioned that how a party whip, other party whips leaves office. But how are we elected? If really the leader of opposition was to be our leader, as members seated on the left-hand side of your chair, Madam Speaker, then we would also be having a say of how that member is elected. That way we know we don't have the majority, we don't have the number. But at least let me participate. We can't even chair committees, Madam Speaker. We cannot even go even to Yala here, Madam.
But isn't there somebody from UPC in Yala? Ona Oyeta and Zogo. There's somebody from UPC in Yala. That one I know. Ona was Oyeta and then Zogo. Then I'm coming this side. I will go to Kenneth. You're here.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in thanking my good friend, Honorable Azar, for moving these motions. Madam Speaker, in 2010, when we were debating the Line Amendment Bill, Article 32, A and B, I put it on record that this Parliament should not be seen to pass law which target a particular group of people. And at that time I was and the person who was presiding over the debate was the current VP, who was actually, and is still in Uganda. Madam Speaker, in 2009, when the Queen paid a visit to this house, then the Prime Minister, Professor Apollo Sibambi, and our leader of opposition, Professor Ganyala Tigo, agreed that the House must have a free sitting to create an impression that we are a very functioning multi-party parliament. Some of us work to the Speaker, Parliament, but with weak opposition side. This bill, the way it is presented, it is basically targeting weakening oppositions. And I want to appeal to my very good friend Aja to withdraw. Madam Speaker, when you look at the remedies of the proposed bill, the election of the leader opposition, if left to members of parliament, which means not only the opposition will participate in the election of leader opposition, even the ruling party will have the right to cast their votes on who should be the leader oppositions. We shall not be surprised, Madam Speaker, to have a leader opposition who is actually the ruling party persons in court. Of course, it's about number. It's about number. And if subjected to the entire House to vote for the leader oppositions.
Point of order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I find it hard to put my colleague on a point of order, but as a student of English, I find the challenges when a colleague comes to the House and he finds it fit to distort English here. Somebody is a leader of opposition, meaning the opposition are having somebody who is leading them. But if he comes here to say that we shall have a leader of opposition elected from the ruling government in this guise, we don't know what he's meaning, because a leader of opposition must be leading the opposition. A person from the government cannot lead the opposition. So when we are here and we get such a statement and people are there watching us, we find it hard to find English distorted here. So is the colleague in order, Madam Speaker, to say that we shall see a situation where a person from the ruling government will be elected as a leader of opposition? Is he in order?
You substantiate that statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for your wise ruling. Madam Speaker, I want to explain my position very clearly. That if the opportunity for choosing the leader opposition was given to the entire House, the way it is being proposed in this bill, yes, okay, fine, let me put it this way. Yes, if, I'm still on the, Madam Speaker, I beg for your protections. Madam Speaker, I beg for your protections.
Honorable member, I just want to draw your attention to the objectives under 1, election of the leader of opposition in parliament to be by secret ballot, to be open to all members of opposition political parties in parliament. Opposition
will now serve in the ruling party as a cabinet member. And we have a DP who served in the cabinet as a minister, and the husband sit this side on the opposition side. And if that opportunity was given for the leader opposition to be chosen by the oppositions, what would have been the results? You will end up with a person like Betta Mongi, the leader opposition, and yet she's NRM. And that is the perspective to which I'm putting this case, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, Madam Speaker, as I...
Order. Clarification? Honorable Abbas.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. The information I would like to give to my honorable colleague, the argument of weakening the opposition is right, because currently the rules provide for the leader of opposition to be nominated by the leader, the party in opposition with the highest numbers. The moment you dictate that the party in opposition should bring like 4 people from amongst whom to choose, that means the party in opposition will not choose, the leader of opposition will not be necessarily as loyal to the party in opposition, but will be loyal to the members of opposition that choose him. That's where the party in opposition loses control over such a leader of opposition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my good friend, for the information. Madam Speaker, I therefore want to conclude by saying that if you are to sustain this bill, then I want to beg my brother and my colleagues to consider dropping the provisions that touches on the issue of the leader oppositions. But I want to agree on the position of the commissioner that should be subjected to general election by the members, because they are the backbenchers representative. They should not be chosen by the party. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Nzogu. Nzogu then Oshave Abala. I come to say.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, in 1962,
Yes, Honorable Nzogu.
It is clearly known that the majority of the DP members crossed the floor and they joined the UPC. And the Right Honorable Speaker, you know very well that in the law which we made in 2015, it was clear, the Political Parties Organizations Act, which we amended, Right Honorable Speaker, it is clear that in the 1 year to the next general election, members are free to even move from the government side and they cross to the opposition. And members who are in the opposition are also free to cross to the NRM side. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, there is a contradiction there. As you had Honorable Nandala raising a fear and Honorable Oyet. Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to put this hypothesis. In around January, Feb next year, we will be remaining with 1 year to the general election. Now, we have Honorable Betty on this side, and we have Honorable Bakena on this side, Betty Among. Now, we can't be sure that when it comes to January or Feb next year, that Honorable Bakena may not actually cross with all his members. We are not sure. And they cross to the NRM. Now, the second scenario, Right Honorable Speaker, yes, Honorable Betty may cross with members from the NRM and she brings them to the opposition. So the situation is not predictable. The second scenario, Right Honorable Speaker, is that when they cross, I said I am putting a hypothesis, that when our members on this side cross with Honorable Jimmy Akena to this side, and possibly Honorable Jimmy Akena has been the leader of opposition on this side, what would happen, Right Honorable Speaker? Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to address the issue of
point of procedure
6B3.
Point of procedure.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, to the best of my understanding, a hypothesis is an assumption. It's an imagination. Yes, it's a view, but it's an imagination. It can only be close to happening if it can be empirically proved and it becomes an idea. Right Honorable Speaker, are we proceeding right for the Honorable Nzou to propose hypotheses that are unimaginable, are impractical as a House? Are we proceeding right to let him propose his hypotheses, his imaginations that are theoretical, that the whole of this House is dragged into discussing what goes on in the mind of Honorable Nzou? Thank you very much.
Now, Honourable Member, please stick to the bill. Address the provisions. Don't speculate. Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker, I do propose that consultations for that matter should be more of informal than putting. Right Honorable Speaker, just give me 1 minute.
Okay, half a minute.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Just like you've been handling this House and managing all of us fairly in a manner that is balanced, Right Honorable Speaker, in that spirit we can still continue and there will be no crisis in this House. As you have maintained it, there is no crisis, Right Honorable Speaker. But what am I proposing, Right Honorable Speaker? That 6B3, what we need to ask ourselves about first is, do parties have powers to reject an elected leader of a political party, Right Honorable Speaker. Then too, with regard to 6B3, where it is saying in electing the leader of the opposition, the party to which he or she belongs shall consult other political parties in opposition to the government represented in Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, these are the issues that come out of this. What is the essence of this clause? 2, do other political parties have veto powers? 3, can the chairperson indicate where else in the Commonwealth where there is this practice? 4, why should you provide a law that requires to, give on one hand and also receive or remove on the other hand? And Right Honorable Speaker, when it comes to 6B6, I propose that this one should be deleted, because this is
Honorable Bala then Oshabe.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the committee for this report. One thing I want to remind members, when you look at Article 78, it shows you the composition of the House here. Now, when you go to Article 79 of the Constitution, Clause 1 says, subject to the provision of this Constitution, Parliament shall have power to make laws on any matter for peace, order, development, and good governance of Uganda. Now, Madam Speaker, I just want to know, I need to be educated by the committee chairperson, whether this law here is going to bring harmony amongst our brothers. Because now, for example, our brothers seem to be, they feel they are being left out. That's what the way I've read it, their minds, their brains, I presume that for them they are not comfortable with the current arrangement. That's why I want the committee to tell me whether it is right. However, now that both sides, the opposition whip, together with the government chief whip, clearly came out to say that arrangement is unattainable. Madam Speaker, at the same time, I remember one of the senior members who is an independent, Honorable Majegiri, said they were not consulted. Now I'm now wondering whether it is necessary. I'm now wondering, they have not been consulted. At the same time, now they are supporting it. I do not know which type of arrangement. That's why I need to be helped to understand that dynamic, because it's very, very important. Number 3, Madam Speaker, I am worried if this law is going to be passed. Because at the moment as we talk, for example, the opposition, the legal opposition for them, that the ones who nominate the leader of opposition and the team. Now, if we, I don't know if we pass this law, are we going to be fighting the parties? Are we trying to generate a way of helping parties to grow, or it's a way of stifling their development? That's the issue I want to be helped to understand. Because my opinion, Madam Speaker, is that this law here is only good for a certain section of people, but it may not be good for the entire House and for the proper administration of this House, in my opinion. And that's why one thing I wanted to say. Then number 3, Madam Speaker, I want the members to know that for me, okay, thank you so much, Madam Speaker. 7 seconds.
Half a minute, yes.
Madam Speaker, I want to say, I want people to know, my colleagues to know that if we are questioning the role of the Commission, it means we are questioning the power and the responsibility of the Right Honourable Speaker of this House.
And that's why for me, like somebody was saying, for us, we don't know what is happening. Even me who sits decide, I don't know what happens. But the decision, when the decision has been taken, it is taken for the good of everybody. All right, thank you so much, Madam Speaker. But thank you so much to somebody.
Honorable Shabe. Your time is up. Honorable Shabe.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the matter of the leader of opposition in Parliament, I think will best be determined at a time when we agree to have an ex-official leader of opposition, where you have somebody who has competed in election, probably has lost, and comes here to lead the opposition as an ex-official. Madam Speaker, the way it is discussed here, when you are discussing only one side without discussing the other, I think it's unfair, very unfair. My matter, however, Madam Speaker, goes on the matter, on the issue of independence. Madam Speaker, when you look at the growth pattern of this Parliament, from the 8th to 9th and now the 10th Parliament, you're having the independents grow more than the numbers of political parties. Madam Speaker, when you look at now the independents, about 66, the biggest political party has 36, and the other political parties have 10, 5, and all that. And Madam Speaker, if you project what will happen in the next Parliament, you are most likely to have almost the number of independents doubling. Why? All these ones who are going to lose primaries are going to go to contest as independents. And there is a people power movement of young people outside there who are saying, we are not joining any political party. We are a movement. And they have members of Parliament. So, Madam Speaker, when we are handling the issue of independence in this Parliament, I think it's high time we handle it with a seriousness according to the patterns of growth of this House. And matters dealing with independence cannot continuously be handled under the carpet. And we just say because they lean here, they lean there. Madam Speaker, I think it's high time we handle matters of independence seriously, because that's where we are going seriously. These political parties, all of them, Madam Speaker, have a problem in managing primaries, including with the political party where I come from. They never handle primaries in a professional manner. So you're most likely, Madam Speaker, to have information taken.
Madam Speaker, I'm not trying to come here to support the political party electoral commissions. Even the Independent Electoral Commission of Uganda, which is down here chaired by Justice Byamukama, you recently saw ballot papers working as if in Wimba. So if the one which is funded by the government of Uganda is not independent as it is, which one will be independent? So the information I'm going to give is that the other one who came, he knows he came with working ballot papers. That's the information I want to give.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, you are aware that the political parties under their iPod, they are mooting a motion. Madam Speaker, they are mooting a motion to do away with independence in this Parliament. Madam Speaker, now, if we start now and do not show as a Parliament where every one of us is likely to become an independent tomorrow, and we handle independence in that matter, Madam Speaker, I think issues of independence should be given accorded the priority as we are handling them. Thank you very much.
No, but Honorable Shabe, I wish you could address the particular part of the bill you want us to handle. You are doing a general. Anyway, let's go to Honorable Mutebi, Otieno Achidri, then go on.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
I'll come back.
I want to thank the committee for the proper evaluation of this bill. I also want to thank the mover
Order, members.
for the attempt he made, but I want to point out the following. We shouldn't legislate on this matter as if we are deficient of the practical facts that exist in this parliament. Much as we have the independents here, very few of them represent independent opinions. We cannot even attempt to think that they are not independent of each other. My brother, Honorable Majegere, has just intimated to this parliament that even on this very particular one, their opinions are not similar. They were not even consulted. So we shouldn't be tempted to think that they will ever represent a common shade of opinion.
The information I would like to give you is that whereas they are all independents, there are some we meet in Chankwanzi and there are those we don't meet there. So they are all independent of each other. That is the information I want to give to this House.
Order. Thank you. Order. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Order. Madam Speaker, the Constitution here, Article 72(4), is not talking about somebody in Chankwanzi. It doesn't talk about somebody in Chankwanzi. It is talking about an independent who is in politics, either parliament or whatever level. So it doesn't talk about Chankwanzi. Right, Honorable Speaker, is the honorable member in order try to confuse this House by bringing in Chankwanzi issues? Is he in order?
Honourable members, let's deal seriously with this subject. The issue of Chankwanzi are not known on this floor. They are outside there. And also, yeah? Pardon? You want to give information? Honorable Obos?
Madam Speaker, about Chankwanzi or Najanankumbi or Chadondo, a matter in the 9th Parliament.
Order.
A matter in the 9th Parliament was taken to the Constitutional Court. And it was resolved that the right to associate, going to attend political activities of another political party when you are independent does not constitute crossing of the floor. That is a right guaranteed under Article 29 of the Constitution. That's why I could go to Chankwanzi or Najanankumbi or to Makerere, yes. So that is a matter that should not be. So whether you are independent, there is nothing like independent leaning in our laws. Yeah.
Now, honourable members, let me really appeal to you to treat this matter very seriously, because as the head of this House, I have a problem. When the Administration Parliament Act was enacted, there were no independents. And now you have 67 independents in this House. Suppose the next election, we have 120 independents. What shall we do? Shall we still say, you cannot go to the commission, you cannot chair a committee? Well, you know, so let's deal with this really seriously. Please, seriously.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm still holding the floor. I want to agree that independents have opinions, but they can never be common in circumstances where the Commission has come together to deliberate on certain issues. But Parliament, in its wisdom, entrusted the commission with the responsibility to take care of the independent reviews, and you have competently done that one before. Having said that, I want to comment on the leadership of the opposition. It would be a grave mistake and a darker design to assume that the leader of opposition should be elected. That would be eroding the powers, the executive powers of the leadership of the opposition. Because currently, when we see what happens, the executive opposition is outside parliament. But their views and leadership opinions are represented by their representatives here, who are the leadership that they designate. So I think it is not fair to erode that power. And on the basis of that, I want to say that it is not fair to uphold this bill. I want to request the mover to withdraw this bill and think of the best way of getting the independent.
Otieno, Achidri, Ogwang. Okay, Wanzara, then I come back the last. Yes.
Thank.
Who is an interested party? No, please. Let me do my work. We are Honorable Otieno.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm going to, as per our rules, I'm going to concentrate on the principles of, I'm going to debate on the principles of this bill. And I will appeal to members that if there is anything contentious, we can deal with those contentious provisions when we go to the committee stage. We can defeat them, we can uphold them. But Madam Speaker, we are the people's representative in this house. We don't represent political parties. We represent the people. We represent the views of the people. In the hierarchy, it is national interest that comes first. What comes next is the people's interest you represent. Political parties' interest comes a distant third there. You cannot start legislating on the basis of what the party wants and you disregard what your people want. You will be deceiving yourself. You will not be representing the people who sent you to this house. Madam Speaker, the issue of this independence, I don't even understand why parties should claim that having independence here it can destroy a political party. In my own NRM, I have Honorable Otafire here. He's even a member of SEC, the topmost decision-making organ. He lost an election. He's a member of parliament, he's a minister. Has it destroyed the NRM? Is it in any way detrimental to NRM? So where is this argument coming that when you have opposition, when you have members who are independent?
Order. Madam Speaker, I have read the NRM Constitution. If you campaign against the official NRM candidate, if you read the NRM Constitution, you are no longer a member of the NRM. If you read your Constitution. So therefore, Kahindo Otafire ceased being a member of NRM the day he campaigned against the NRM candidate. Is the member on the floor in order? Madam Speaker. Is the member on the floor in order? First, to misrepresent NRM, but two, to lie to Parliament that by having someone who campaigned against NRM sitting on the top organ of the party, it does not destroy that party.
Honourable members, the issue of the NRM or other parties is not before this House. What we are discussing is the Constitution and the rights of members of Parliament. Please proceed.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, what this House must do is to provide an enabling environment for all members in this House to represent the views of the people sent them here. It doesn't matter whether I'm an independent, and in any case, Right Honourable Speaker, it is the very parties who created these independents. If you are saying that because somebody dissented from you and you did disadvantage, how comes these independents defeated party candidates? How comes? Can somebody explain that? So, Right Honourable Speaker, other than coming here to claim that this bill is intended to destroy political parties, what the political parties can do is to put their house in order. I think that is the fundamental issue they must address. Right Honourable Speaker, the right to belong to a political party is not a given. I can decide to belong, I can decide not to belong. But what I'm appealing to my colleagues here is that let us allow this bill, we scrutinize it, and if there is any provision which is contentious, we deal with it at the committee stage. But not to say that that bill is not good because we destroy political parties, so we should not even consider it. No, that's not the work we are supposed to do here in this House. Our work is to scrutinize every bill that comes before us. So let's not express any cowardice. Let's do our work, accept the bill. If there is anything we don't agree with, there's a committee stage. We shall hand it at that point. As for me, I support the bill. Let it be read for the second time, and we deal with it square.
Honourable Achidri Ogwango Wanzara. Then I come back to
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I rise to support this bill, partly because the political dynamics is so interesting that I may become an independent. So it's in order to have such a bill that takes care of the independence in Parliament. Right Honourable Speaker, I was just reflecting on what happened to Dr. Kiza Besigye a few days ago when I realized that the police force was trying to flush the former Minister of State for Internal Affairs with water. That shows you how dynamic politics is. So, for the case of independence, Right Honourable Speaker, I'd like to state this. It is in order for the independents to have representation, particularly in a policy organ like the Parliamentary Commission, which makes key decisions. So for me, this bill is in order so that we are able to take care of the interests of independents who are genuinely elected by the Ugandans. Right Honourable Speaker. Okay.
Thank you, my colleague.
Honourable Kivalia.
The information I wish to give, Right Honourable Speaker, that as people talk of destroying political parties, marginalizing independence and this and the other, even for us who belong to these political parties, with our clear rules of procedure here, Right Honourable Speaker, somehow you find that the independents are more comfortable than us. Right Honourable Speaker, if for me, I apply for a committee, a member of the party, and the rules are clear that my chief whip, in consultation with me, will designate me to a committee, and the chief whip decides not to give me any of the 3 options I've put, and decides whether from her bed, wherever, and drop me wherever she feels. I wonder whether I will be representing the interests of my people when I decided to choose one of the 3. So the information I want to give my colleagues is that the issue of independence is not a simple thing. My colleague here told you that you may get surprised when you have 200 independents here. I wonder whether we shall come back here again and legislate, because that time they may have the majority. So we need to deal with it squarely here. If we have to give them a slot, we give them a slot as we prepare for the future.
Machidri, please conclude.
Right Honorable Speaker, to conclude my submission, I only have 2 other issues. One, the issue of belonging and associating. This is where you see a bit of problems in political behavior. You belong as an independent, but you associate as another political party. In fact, the true definition of independence should really be tested with people like us, who are able to oppose the ruling party within, without any fear of intimidation. We are the true independents, because we have the independence of mind, we have the independence of representation of our people, we even have the independence of not being coerced financially. This is the real definition of independence. So, those who are independent would like to advise you to balance the boat between belonging and associating, because that is where it is a little bit tricky. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, the question of representation in the commission, I know that we amended the rules. I don't know whether I would like to revisit the rules so that whoever represents us in the commission should be elected than to be dictated upon by a political party. This might resolve some of these unnecessary contradictions that we are facing now. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Gwang, then Wansara. Then I come this side. 3 minutes.
Madam Speaker and members, first of all, I would like to get on record that I have whatever views I'm going to give are my views as a member of parliament for Usu County. Number 2, Madam Speaker and to members, I listened yesterday's debate on what transpired to Dr. Kizza Besigye. I listened to all of us giving very passionate submissions about the role of political parties. Here today, we are discussing 2 issues. Number 1, the question of independence, which I would like to request the Attorney General to come to this August House and help the country to define what is an independent member of parliament. Why do I say this? Madam Speaker, honorable colleagues, we must listen to one another. You cannot begin to compare yourself with a political party with the 2 members. Nor can you compare yourself with a political party with the 9 members, not 10. All of us are candidates to be independent, but even when I'm a member of independent, what I want to request here
Information, Honorable Ogwang.
Can I make submissions, my sister?
Information.
Can I submit? I would like to request us here, Madam Speaker and colleagues, that when we talk about parties, we must accept to allow parties to flourish in this country. They will help us, even what colleagues were discussing yesterday. They will help us to build this country better than what it is tomorrow. The issue of independence being represented in the commission is one question which should be defined. If we all agree that an independent who is independent of the other should be represented in the commission, that will be the position of the House. But for us to begin to matter ourselves that we are independent of as an organization, in my opinion, is wrong. That's what I'm saying.
Order.
I'm speaking today as a member of parliament.
On a point of order. On a point of order. Honorable.
Right, Honorable Speaker. When you look at the case of Anita Among versus Attorney General of East African Community, the issue was about an independent, whether an independent should be elected or not. I refer my brother, Honorable Gwang, to read to that case for him to have the information in regard to an independent in that case. So is in order to talk about an independent, asking for a clarification for a legal opinion when there is already a ruling to that effect. I am an authority on an independent.
Honourable members, I don't think we need the Attorney General here. The Constitution is clear. The Constitution is clear. It defines the independent.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for your submission, and my sister's Anita's submission as an authority as far as independent is concerned. But the question is my sister independent?
Order. Order. Right, Honorable Speaker. I request Honorable Gwang to withdraw his statement. I came to this House as a member of Parliament elected and independent. Is in order to assume that I'm not an independent member of Parliament.
Can Honorable Gwang substantiate that position?
Madam Speaker, honorable members, my submissions as far as asking my sister to either accept whether she's independent of him or herself is one thing I want to put it on record. It is true she's independent, but she's associating with the political party of her interest. So for that purpose, and more strong in that party, by the way, where she is associating with, that I can confirm to my brothers here. But Madam Speaker, I want to conclude by saying, Honorable Nandala, let me conclude. Can I conclude? Can I conclude? No, can I conclude? No, can I conclude? Can I conclude? Madam Speaker, I want to conclude by saying the question of our brothers, independent members of Parliament, thinking that in the Parliamentary Commission their views and their interests are not represented. Madam Speaker, I want to say this: all meetings of the Commission are chaired by you, and I don't think there's any decision which they can themselves stand before this August House and say they have never been fairly been represented. So that when we're in the Commission, there are no political parties in the Commission. It's about issues of this Parliament as an institution of Parliament. I thank you so much, honorable colleagues. Thank you.
Honorable Wansara? Noah?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is Musana.
Oh, sorry, Musana.
Madam Speaker, I want to interest myself to two important matters. The independents, Madam Speaker, have got a point. And this point is very, very serious. And it is a call on the Commission specifically to check itself. Is it true that they are unfairly treated? That now they would need to have a share, or maybe a representation, or maybe a membership? Number two, it is also a call on political parties
to organize their decency, to organize their parties. Because we are in multi-party dispensation, we're talking of political parties managing the affairs of politics of this country. We would want to have political parties grow. But now what we are looking at, the questions we are raising, we are saying political parties have got a lot of inaccuracies. And these inaccuracies are the ones causing disharmony. There is a scenario one member of parliament is talking about. Supposing that in the next parliament, the next 11th parliament, we get around 200 independents, what would happen? So it's a call on political parties to clean up themselves and have more decency in this matter. Number 3, it's about the call on either to jointly or collectively vote for a leader of opposition. This will weaken more those other small parties we are talking about, like Honorable was talking about. We would want to give powers to the party to be in charge. And I don't see any problem where the leading opposition party to be choosing the law. I wouldn't see any problem. Why would we subject it to a vote? Otherwise, we would have even the government chief whip who would also go into voting and say, Ruth Nankabirwa, then we should vote for another government chief whip. I wouldn't support that, and I think the status quo would be very, very important. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, I want to invite Honourable Kamateka, but before I do so, I just want to inform you that this last week, we got some awards. The Honourable Kamateka was awarded a doctorate of the Commonwealth University. The Honourable Peter Lokeris, he has been here also. The Honourable Akiror, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. 3 of them were awarded that doctorate. I think I forgot to inform you that on the 26th of June, I was awarded a doctorate of the University of Nkumba. Thank you. Honourable Kamateka, quickly. We are cooking. Yes, Honourable Kamateka.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. A lot has been said. Right Honourable Speaker, let me start with the issue of elections. As has been pointed out, we decided as a nation to go away, Dr. Kamateka, yes, thank you, to go away from, or to move away from individual merit to multipartism. And so, I don't see why we would want that the leader of opposition be elected. Because currently, and indeed, democracy is a game of numbers. Democracy is a game of numbers. You have the majority party in government. You have the next party which is in charge of the opposition. And currently, that party names the head of the opposition. And it should remain so. We are talking of independence. Today, we have big numbers of independents. But tomorrow, all these independents may come as members of parliament who belong to parties. We don't even know what will happen tomorrow. We may not have any independent. So, for us to say that the independents should also take part in electing the leader of opposition, for me, I think, is to change the meaning of independent in the Constitution and the meaning of independent in English. Because if you are independent, you are independent, and it is an individual choice. It is, you have a right to stand and get a vote from the people. But once you are here, you are then subjected to
Madam Speaker.
We are then subjected to the rules that dictate that the leader of opposition will be the one named by the party which has
On a point of
the
order.
majority
Order.
on the opposition
Point of
side.
order.
Right Honorable Speaker, the new doctor in the House is legislating in anticipation that tomorrow we may not have anybody in independence. Just like we may not have anybody in opposition tomorrow, or we may not have anybody anywhere. Is it in order for a doctor to legislate in anticipation, the honorable doctor to legislate in anticipation?
Honourable members, let us really focus on the provisions made, but I want to put this matter into perspective and also answer the question of Honourable Musana when he said that is it true that the independents are discriminated in the commission? No, they are not. But the reality is that we have come from dealing with 3 independents to having more independents than the official opposition. They are double the official opposition. What do you do with that group of so many people who you know, that's what we have to deal with. Honorable Kamateka. Eh? Honorable Kamateka.
Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honourable
Procedure,
Speaker.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker,
Yes.
each member of independent is independent of each other. They are therefore not more than the opposition. They are one. The procedure issue I am raising, Madam Speaker, is whether anyone in this House can aggregate people who are not aggregatable and then say they are more than the opposition. They are not.
Honourable members, don't go into the semantics. We have a number of 67 people who are here who are neither ruling party nor opposition. Please proceed.
Madam Speaker.
Right Honourable Speaker,
Procedure.
I do not want to be seen to be going against what you have said, but Right Honourable Speaker, to say, for example, that the independents have a dean is to make them into a party, because as he has said, the honourable member has said, every member who is here as an independent is an independent of each other, of the other, and they should be able to operate that way. Just voice the ideologies that you stand for and participate and be seen, and then you can be. Right Honourable Speaker, we know that you are in charge of the independents and you can identify them and put them in leadership positions, but for us to legislate that independents should be information.
Thank you, Doctor.
Honourable Atiku.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to give information to our new doctor that on the matter of independence, at the time of nominations, when we fill the nomination forms, we are required to choose a symbol that will identify us on the ballot paper. The symbol that I picked is different from what Honorable Majegere picked. What was your symbol? So, Madam Speaker, on that basis, we are independent of each other here. I am independent of Honorable Majegere because others came with saucepans, others came with chairs, others came with clocks, and therefore we are independent of each other, and there should be no reason. Nobody should confuse this House that we are all independents. We are independent of each other. I came with a clock, Majegere came with a saucepan, and therefore we are not together. That's the information, Honorable Doctor.
Order, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable, for the information. Indeed, to prove this, that is why the member sat down and crafted this bill and brought it before Parliament, even without consulting his colleagues. If they were working together, he would have consulted them first. So, Right Honourable Speaker, for me, I believe that what we have in place now is practicable, and to do otherwise would be to weaken the opposition parties. Thank you.
Ona tumsime, then I come to Esiangu Nabutanyi. Where is Nabutanyi? It's not there. Odur here. Okay. We go there. After tumsime.
Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I have critically read and comprehended the object of this bill and the defects with the current legislation that the bill intends to cure. And specifically so, it states that this state of affairs has led to the subjugation of the views of the opposition and other shade of opinion on the Commission considering other members of the Commission. Madam Speaker, when you analyze this bill, it is devoid of justice, of the same shades the mover is intending to highlight on the very first page. That in his conclusion, he considers the independent members of parliament not being represented, and he drops other shades of members of parliament like the military. I don't know at what time we shall have another amendment to provide for other different shades and to provide for their deans, which will make this implementation either problematic or the law itself extremely ambiguous. Number two, Madam Speaker, as the chairperson of the committee was making a report, I listened and I wanted to know particular examples that had been raised by the people who attended the committee in regard to the decisions that were made by the Commission that did not take care of the interests of the independent members of parliament, or decisions that had been made to address only the interests of members of parliament who are either belonging to the ruling party or those who are belonging to the opposition. And with that observation, Madam Speaker, I find this bill defective, and I call upon my honorable colleague to withdraw it with immediate effect. Thank you.
Now, honourable members, we don't withdraw bills at the second reading. We vote for or against them. There's no question of withdrawal. Honourable Siangu? We're up there.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me give special thanks to you as the chairperson of this House for taking good care of us as independents. I don't know whether it is by default. Otherwise, our situation in this House would have been very precarious. You can hear the level of debate in the House, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, there are sentiments going across the board. But once we have issues that are very contentious in this House, you find the same members quoting us up to make a decision jointly in this House. Madam Speaker, you have categorically said you have a problem with the growing number of independents in this House. And it will still grow. You need to be helped. And I want to implore members that let's look at the merits of this bill, so that at the end of the day, when we go to committee stage, we can scrutinize to better the management of this House. It will help that chair to steer the House very well. Madam Speaker, anybody in this House is a candidate of an independent. Anybody. And members need to be very careful. Members need to be very careful. Where we are going, especially now that coming one, with the new rules the parties are coming with, a lot of members here are going to be locked out, and the only way is independent. So be very careful when we are considering this bill. This bill could be a way for you to come back to this House Now, Madam Speaker, it is not doubt that the numbers have been growing. Both opposition and the NRM have no capacity to organize free and fair democracy within their parties. That's why the numbers are growing. And they will continue to grow. Madam Speaker, if you look at the numbers in this house, we are second to NRM. We are second to NRM. And at the end of the day, our contributions here matter, Madam Speaker. You need to be guided, to be helped, to be able to steer the house very well. Madam Speaker, if you look at even the constitution of
Have to conclude, just to conclude then, Nabutanyi.